2022. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Apple Podcast. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio. You can listen to us 24/7. And of course, you can listen to Alabama football games every weekend. Visit us on the sportscast.net and also visit us on Twitter, the Sportscast1. And check out our app, the Sportscast, in the iOS App Store. The World Series has been finalized. We now know the two teams that will be going, the favorites, Astros, and the Philadelphia Phillies, who haven't been around since '08 in this World Series. And join us. He's becoming a stranger to the Sportscast. Ryan Christa, welcome back.
Santiago, it's good to be here. Wow, it's one of those times of the year, sports calendar, where everything's going on at one time, Santiago. We're talking World Series. We're in the middle of the NFL, college football, NHL is going on, NBA starting. So, wow, it's just a crazy time as an American sports fan.
And if the World Cup was pushed up a month early, it would have been extra special.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we could have handled this, Santiago. I don't even know what I'm going to do Thanksgiving weekend. It's going to be football and football and a lot going on.
All right. So the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros will play game one of the 2022 World Series on Friday night, this Friday, at Houston's Minute Maid Park. The Astros will be vying for their second championship in the last 6 years, Ryan, and second in franchise history, while the Phillies are looking to reach the top of the MLB hype for the first time since 2008 and for the third time in their franchise history. Ryan, what are your thoughts over these? Your thoughts over this World Series this year?
Well, I mean, you've got two different factors. You got the Phillies, who are obviously kind of your surprise team, and then you've got your super team Astros, with star power and pitching and hitting. The Phillies came in this year, as a team who. Known that could swing the bat, Bryce Harper, Castellanos, but really a team that's known for being really a poor defensive team. Their numbers last year were crazy. But now you've got a team who fired a manager, Joe Girardi, hired an interim manager, and they little by little, they just they stayed in the race. They were never great, they kind of one of the last teams were qualified for the playoffs, but behind, Nola and Wheeler, their star pitchers, they got hot at the right time, and that's all that really takes.
The Astros reached the Fall Classic by sweeping the Yankees in the ALCS across the league. The Phillies took down the Padres in 5 games in the NLCS. And then, of course, before that, Houston beat the Seattle Mariners in the ALDS. They've been undefeated, Ryan. Is this a good indicator they might win it all? But tell us, what were your thoughts over their path to the World Series this year?
Yeah, I think the Astros are very dominant. They really were never in any threat. They've fallen behind, in a couple of games, early on, the Mariners, even against the Yankees. But you just didn't think they were ever going to lose. You just thought they were always a better team. Their lineup is, deep. Alvarez, Altuve, and then you got your dominant pitching staff, led by Fetcher and Verlander. So I don't foresee them losing the World Series. I didn't foresee them losing the playoffs. So it'd be nice if it's both of these last rounds. The Phillies won in 5, and then the Astros swept the Yankees, so hopefully have a semi-competitive World Series. But I just think the Astros are just a better team. But again, the Phillies were just the underdog in every series, so we'll see what happens.
Let's stick with the Astros before we head into the Phillies. The Yankees have had an expensive payroll. going on. Came close game four, perhaps. But what was the problem with the Yankees? Aaron Judge had a great season, had a home run record. What went wrong with the Yankees this season?
Just timely hitting. That's all about playoffs is. I don't think their pitching was awful, but they just weren't, Judge and Stanton, the guys they needed to, depend on all year. They didn't come through for them. It's really as simple as that. I don't think you can really blame them. Pitching gave them a chance in most games, but I think the big question mark is, what's Aaron Judge going to do? They tried to re-sign him beginning of the season, and he kind of turned down that deal. Somebody's going to back up the Briggs truck, and that's going to be really interesting. I think once this World Series is over, that's going to be all the talk in baseball is we're the best hitter, best play. The thing about Aaron Judge is, he's not just a great hitter, he's a great fielder, pitch for average. He does everything.
He does everything. Obviously, had a home run record. As Ryan says, there's going to be some contract issues after the season. Giancarlo is a big contract issue, which might unload Aaron Judge from the Yankees and somewhere else. Let's look at the Phillies. As Ryan said, they were the underdog. They were in the wild card. They beat St. Louis 2-0. They swept that one. And then they beat the Braves 3-1, which was a big indicator because the Braves were the champions of last year. And then they beat San Diego, new team, Juan Soto and everyone. Ryan, your thoughts over their path to the World Series?
Yeah. I thought, I don't know that the Padres are going to get them, being the Braves, that was a shocker, too, before we even got the Padres. Everything, that we talked about Yankees not getting those clutch hits the Phillies did, Bryce Harper, how long have you heard that name in Santiago? Kind of guy who's been on SportsCenter cover when he was 16 years old, being this phenomenon, big personality. He leaves Washington wins the World Series. He's desperately seeking, this tour of, I can put a team on my back and we can do it. And he really did, He had a shot heard around Philly, Sunday night, sends them into the World Series. So, wow, it's just a good time to be a sportsman in Philadelphia, Santiago. Phillies are doing good. The Eagles are undefeated, so I'm sure we'll talk about football later. But
yeah, we'll see which one, who will bring that trophy home. Let's look into the NBA standings. NBA season started this past week. Right now, the current standing is for the East. The Bucks are number 1 at 2-0. Wizards 3-1. Boston Celtics 3-1. Hornets 2-1. Cavs 2-1. Knicks 2-1. Hawks 2-1. Raptors 2-2. Bulls 2-2. Nets 1-2. I know it's only been 3 to 4 games, Ryan. Let's start with the East. What are your thoughts so far? Are you seeing some indicators, or you want to see some more games played?
Oh, absolutely. You're really talking 1 week out of 5 months of basketball. You're not gonna put much stock into it. I think I don't want to be negative, but the Ben Simmons experience isn't off to a great start. Santiago for the Nets. So we'll see if they can kind of have their trio get it all together. Again, very early. So we got Bucks and Nets tonight. That'll be, kind of a test to see how they're going. Then the Nets got the Mavericks on tomorrow night. I think I put a lot of stock into the Wizards, Santiago. When they get fully healthy, I think this is a very good Eastern Conference team. Hornets, I think, just had a good week. I don't think they're very good. Cavs are, a good team. I'm really interested to see the Celtics. Is this a team? Obviously we all that negativity around, their coach. And now you got a new interim coach. Who's really no coaching experience ever. See how they rallied. So far, so good. I don't know Santiago. We'll see what happens. Get it very early. Everybody's still kind of finding their way through setting their rotations. If you look at it's kind of like football. It takes a couple weeks because no one really plays in the preseason. They really get your footing going. I know these teams count, but get these teams a couple weeks, and then we can really start to formulate some opinions.
Yeah, and as Ryan mentioned, with Boston's Celtics, the team that fired their coach, Ime
No, they haven't
Udoka.
fired him, Santiago. They haven't fired him yet. They
No,
suspended him
that no,
for a
he's
year.
suspended for a season, but a lot of stuff is coming out lately, and of course, interim coach Joe
Oh,
Masula. Now,
I'm not gonna say that Missoula is going to be the full-time coach, but I think we're pretty safe to say Udoka, he's not going to be the Celtics coach. But if you listen, I listen, some speculation on the, NBA, listen to people, is that, there might be, I don't know if they'd be, they're kind of keeping him in suspension because I think there's some interest from other teams. This guy really changed the Celtics' fortune last year. He's a good coach. The moves he made during the postseason to put his team in good position. I wouldn't be surprised if people make a move, to bring in Udoka next year as their coach.
yeah, Udoka, first year coach last year with the Celtics, led them to the NBA Finals, but lost against the Warriors, the mighty Warriors, 4-1. Which segues to the West. The Blazers are 4-0. The Suns 3-1. Suns, who's also suspended their owner for a year, who's also in talks to sell the team. San Antonio Spurs 3-1. Top three: Grizz 3-1. Pelicans 3-1. Jazz 3-1. Nuggets 2-2. Clippers 2-2. Wolves 2-2. Warriors 2-2. And your Mavs 1-2. Obviously, way too early. But the indicators, what do you see in the West? Are the Blazers the real deal, or they're just going to be 4-0 and maybe end a little bit towards the bottom of the table?
Yeah, I don't think they're super power the Warrior. I mean the Blazers, but good start for them. Jeremy Grant's playing well. Anthony Simmons, a name that I don't know if a lot of people know. It's kind of the reason why they were able to move on from CJ McCollum. So we'll see how the Simmons Lillard backcourt goes for the Blazers. It's harder to put in, a lot of if teams, like a Blazers are fool's gold. But I'm telling you, there's one team I will make a lot of assumptions, and I know it's a big name team is the Los Angeles Lakers need to do something with Russell Westbrook. Santiago. It was kind of the big thing in the offseason. We'll see if it's going to work. It's not working, Santiago. I know it's 4 games. I know we just talked about hold your horses, but there's just a disconnection between Russell Westbrook and his team and his role. And if the Lakers want to do something, they need to make a move in the sense of either shipping him out or putting him on the bench and saying this is your role, you like it or not, or you're just not going to play. So you could just see there's a lot of negativity going on there. I know it's early, but they can work out these problems. I think they'll be an okay team because you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are 2 world-class players. So, you just got to get everybody else on the same page.
Where do you think Westbrook would be a good place for him?
I don't think there's a great place right now because I think he can't do the things that made him great throughout the years. He does consistently. He's lost his shooting touch, his confidence. Really, I mean, I literally just see him going to a place where they're not very good. They're going to eat up his contract for a year, and then, he's got kind of a hard reality. And I think that's why people, that taking that lesser role. And that's why it's hard, That's why I think you have players like Carmelo Anthony, Boogie Cousins, who are obviously on the downside of their career, having a hard time accepting that secondary role. A lot of teams would be interested in having them on the roster, but the egos are hard for them to say, for those type of players to say, I'm okay, not being the focal point of a team. And that's kind of what Russell Westbrook is, He always thinks he's the best player on the team, even with Kevin Durant. I think, that's kind of that started that barrier on that team. But we'll see. You know, like I said, it's still early. You know, and I just think you don't fall too far behind if you're the Lakers, and since there's too many other talented people on that team to be this bad of a team so far.
And with new Laker coach Darvin Ham, we'll see how things flourish there. The one player that I'm looking forward to see in the Lakers is Scottie Pippen Jr.
You like him? Yeah, I mean, he was a good college player on a bad college team. We'll see what happens with him. I think let him. If you got people like that, who are not fully ready, let him go to the G League and play for a little bit. So before they just sit on the bench.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what the Laker team so far 0-3. So we'll see where things go with the Lakers. And how about your Mavs? 1-2, high expectations this year.
Yeah, I mean, the stars are playing good. The role players are not. I mean, Luka, especially last night, 36 points, pretty much a triple double. Christian Wood off the bench is averaging almost 25 points a game. Spencer Dinwiddie's, hanging in there. They're just, like I said, everybody's finding a role, finding their rhythm. You can't take too much. They blew a huge lead to the Suns opening night. Then they blew out the Grizzlies at home by 37 points, and then they go and faced a shorthanded Pelican team last night, and couldn't, they weren't clutch, in the moment that they needed to. So again, don't hit the panic button early. They'll get things figured out. You need the role players to consistently step up, and I'm sure they will. They're good, so we'll not too worried yet.
Want to bring up Orlando Magic rookie Paolo Banchero, who had 27 points opening game, something we haven't seen since LeBron James in 2003. I said he was going to be picked first in the NBA draft. Ryan didn't think so, but is the future bright for Paolo?
Yeah, the future's bright for him. I don't know if it's Magic. Fortunately, the team isn't. Isn't that great? But it's a good time for him, to get a lot of experience. Again, they just got to put some pieces together on Paolo. There's also some good, future players, going to be in the draft next year. So let's see what the Magic do this year in the sense of trying to put a good product on the court, which kind of leads, me to say, Adam Silver mentioned last week that he's going to be taking serious looks at teams purposely trying to tank, aka the Magic, the Thunder, the Rockets. So we'll see how teams are going to go about their strategy this year. Because let's face it, there's some really great prospects coming into the league next year that some teams feel like they just can't miss out on.
Ryan is hyping up the 2023 NBA draft. All right, I know it's beginning of the season, and this is our only prediction show for the NBA so far. Who is your finals prediction? Who will go to all the way to the end, East and West?
I'm gonna go back, with the league champions. I'm gonna go with the Warriors out of the West. I think they're not doing great right now. Well, actually, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go Warriors Bucks.
Warriors Bucks classic, and the Warriors had to go through a 7-game series with the Mavs, all the way down to game 7. How about that? Western Conference Championship.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a lot of pressure. I think there's a lot of pressure on the Warriors this year. Not to win the championship in the playoffs, but I think there's a lot of pressure. This is the first time in a long time that they kind of got their whole core there healthy for the regular season. I want to say they're going to try to make a run at, 60-plus games, 65-win season, which I think they're very capable of doing. But when they have off nights like they did last night, um, like Thompson getting started, I think they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves to have a great regular season. So we'll see if it kind of affects them. So I think obviously they're a good team, and they'll definitely be a team I predict to go back to the finals. But I want to see how much pressure they put on themselves in the regular season, kind of historical season.
Yeah, especially with Jordan Poole having a great contract extension, so a valuable asset of the Golden State Warriors.
Let me tell you, would you give big money to Draymond Green to keep him long in the core, or are you going to say you're done with him?
I would unload him.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a weird situation. I think they're kind of like they do everything really good in the sense of they've always drafted well. Clay, Steph, Draymond, even Poole. But and the thing is, like, they took advantage. They had with injuries, with Clay and Steph a couple years ago. They were bad, and they recognized it, and they went out and they drafted good. They have a plethora of talent on that team. And then you got somebody and they made a good trade for Andrew Wiggins. I think they're just kind of a model franchise of how you operate. When you're good, and then how to operate. When you have trust issues and things you can't control, like injuries. So I think they're just a team I think everybody should kind of look up to the way you run an organization. With that being said, they definitely have a difficult situation with Draymond. It's kind of the core. And I think Draymond, as he's got to understand, is he fits perfectly the way the Warriors run their offense. I don't think he's that much value if he goes to another team because I don't think he can do the things he does because he doesn't have the players around him. So we'll see what happens.
And maybe they're using the same model as the Jerry Cross model back in the Chicago Bulls 90s era.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that was to get Michael Jordan a couple of good pieces that aren't going to get in his way. Scottie Pippen, but they're just a really deep team. There's really no weakness. We talked about the Warriors, so I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see how the Suns rebound after their disappointment in the playoffs last year. Obviously, like we just said, there's so much still to be learned in the NBA. We're just kind of getting going. I say, we talk to, when we, talk again, in a couple of weeks, see how the teams are progressing, which ones are fool's gold, or the Blazers are a decent team, or they were just, got a hot start, I really don't think the Hornets are a good team in the East, but, they're starting off well, so we'll see.
And the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, brought up the issue of tanking and that he's been flirting with the idea of promotion relegation, which is a model used in Europe. Your thoughts on that, Ryan? But even though he said, well, we could do that, but a G League team isn't ready for the NBA.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But and it's just hard to regulate those kind of things, until it's hard because can't tell teams. It's hard to tell teams which players, not players, because you really don't know what's going on, But at the same time, he's got to look out for what's his best interest, and that's in his owners and the fans. So he's trying, if people have to pay money to go watch basketball, they're going to want to put it on TV, not in the sense of national TV, but you want to make money for your local markets too. You can't be putting out garbage, like somebody like a Thunder, who feel like if they put out the same lineup and certain games they're going to win, they're not going to put out lineups. So they just want to lose because they just want so many draft picks. You got.
We'll see what Adam Silver cooks up to prevent tanking, something that the NFL as well is going through. All right, let's transition towards the NFL. Big news this week: James Robinson from the Jaguars traded to the New York Jets after Breece Hall was announced he was out for the season, suffering a torn ACL. The Jets aren't giving up. They want to take this season with a bang.
Yeah. big movement in a sense for both. It basically signifies that ETN is the guy in Jacksonville, Santiago. I think they recognize this Nestle is in their year, but they're gonna, they want to build with ETN, for the coming future. And also, you got a Jets team. I feel like you got a good player, Michael Carter, but a guy I don't think they think is a workhorse. The Jets are running back, so you're gonna go and you add another kind of workhorse type guy, and James Robinson. This team isn't built by throwing the ball; it's built by running the ball, and that's what they're going to continue to do. And this is kind of shows that the model that they want to keep going by. Running the ball, playing good defense.
And Jets with their winning streak going on, they beat the Broncos in Denver 16-9. Ryan, explain to me what happened there.
Well, not much change, with a new quarterback. Brett Rippon playing for Russell Wilson. Their team is just struggling offensively.
The Russells aren't doing well this year.
Yeah, Russell's not doing well, and I don't know if he never was healthy. You can't expect Brett Rippon to come in. They're not getting good line play. They can't run. They have no consistent running game. And then you have quarterbacks you can't get the ball to Judy, and so it's a tough situation for everybody. So we'll see how Nathaniel Hackett moves on, but things don't change. This offense is historically bad, Santiago. You're getting a shade over one touchdown a game right now. It's not good. That's not how you win games. There's really no identity. Defense is, keeping them in every game. They also are giving up only about one touchdown, a little over a touchdown a game. So props to defense, but until the offense, gains some momentum, they're going nowhere fast.
We'll see what happens with the Broncos, and we're seeing the proof that maybe it wasn't Russell Wilson, who was awesome in Seattle. Geno Smith is filling in those big shoes, and Seattle is on a streak too. Ryan, what's up with that?
Yeah, he's looking good, and the Seahawks are, looking good in that division itself. But, I think we had high expectations for that division. We haven't really seen the Rams take off like they did last year. Cardinals are average, and the 49ers.
But D-Hop is coming back.
Yeah, D-Hopkins, they scored a lot of points last week, got some defensive scores, but I thought it was a great division, but it's not showing out right now. But props to Geno Smith, for keeping the Seahawks in contention, because I really don't think it's a very good team, but I think they were probably hoping, Geno would kind of bail, and we got with the upcoming quarterback class, Straub and Bryce Young, there's a lot of hype, they get those quarterbacks. But if they keep on winning, they're not going to do it through their own picks. So.
And the rise of Kenneth Walker, the third, the rookie, I cannot complain. Seahawks are in the rise. Pete Carroll, maybe going out strong. We'll see what happens. In surprising news, the Colts bench Matt Ryan. They're going to start rookie Sam Ehlinger for Week 8.
Yeah.
The Athletic reported that Ryan had a grade 2 shoulder separation and won't practice this week, but looks like Ehlinger will be the starter for the rest of the season. Ryan, was this a shock when things were going great for the Colts?
Yeah, it surprises me, Santiago. I didn't see it coming, I know he's injured, but something they're with this experiment. We'll see what happens going forward. Matt Ryan, or they're just going to keep him as a veteran backup. But this just kind of goes in general. Santiago. We saw Tom Brady win a Super Bowl with the Bucs. We saw Matt Stafford win a Super Bowl with the Rams. Veteran quarterbacks coming into new teams. So then you have a Matt Ryan experience. You have a Russell Wilson experience, which none of that's going well right now. So we'll see if teams are changing the way they do things going forward after these failed experiments.
rebuild experience. We'll see what happens. I like the Colts for the AFC South, but obviously there's still more ball to play. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean that's the thing, Santiago. That division's still there. No one's
It's
taking
still in play
control of it.
more
So,
than the AFC West.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think the Chiefs are good, Santiago. The Chiefs are still good.
Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, Ryan?
That's a hard question. What a weird situation Monday night. Monday Night Football. Last year Mac Jones kind of had this great rookie season. And they kind of wanted to just draft. Because they could trust. Zappy came in and did the job. I don't think he was flashy. I don't think he was playing crazy numbers, but
And Ryan is getting lost in the abyss a bit right now. Tough question.
2 touchdown passes, but kind of very struggles. So struggles, after that. So I don't know. Bill Belichick knows what he's doing, and you gotta trust him as a Pats fan. So we'll see what happens.
You think the issue is not having a concrete offensive coordinator could be the issue?
Yeah, it could be. They struggled at the beginning of the season with Jones, and kind of found a little bit of rhythm. Not because of Zappy, but because of the running game, and they didn't even really try getting that going Monday. And Monday was just a weird game. The Chicago Bears looked like they were not the team we've seen. They obviously played great defense, but
Justin Fields,
he controlled.
He's a solid QB1, Ryan.
If he plays like that every day, yeah. I didn't see that coming. Good for him. Good for that team. Yeah, I don't know what to do with the Patriots. But we see the Jets step up, but it hasn't been pretty. The Dolphins play one good half every week. I don't know. That after the Bills, I don't know what's going to happen in that division.
Jets are number 2 right now in the AFC East. Can they hold that?
If they keep on that formula and they keep on playing good defense, sure. But eventually Zach Wilson's going to have to come out and step up and make a play here sooner or later. So we'll see. Zach
Wilson and the New York Jets. We'll see what this team does with Coach Saleh. And one more. Who is the most unconvincing team? The New York Giants or the Dallas Cowboys?
The Giants are again. They keep on winning. Well, they're kind of that same formula, If you take most of their, other than Saquon Barkley, most of their offense starters wouldn't start from any other teams. I think they got a great coach in Brian Daboll, who's scheming things up, but they're not flashy. They're again kind of like the Jets. They don't make mistakes on offense, and they play super hard, and they let Saquon kind of keep them in the game. It's just not a crazy formula, and Daniel Jones is making enough plays when he has to. They don't ask him to do a whole lot, but whether it's on using his legs or making a crucial throw, he's doing all that's been asked of him, and that's all you want.
Coach of the Year, Nick Sirianni or Brian Daboll?
Brian Daboll, yeah, for sure. Nick Sirianni. Obviously they're undefeated, but they were supposed to be a good team, and the Eagles are a good team. And I don't know if they're good as this 6-0 record is, but that's your only as good as your record. But with that being said, Brian Daboll is taking a team that I don't think he's won 5 games the last 2 years total, barely. 6 games the last 2 years. So, and he's done it, and this team believes in it. They play hard, and again, kind of like the Jets, never really pretty, and they're just gritty. And when you see a team overachieve, you kind of got to give it to that team's coach as the coach of the year.
Ryan, can you do the gritty?
Uh, no, not in the repertoire.
You are still working on it. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. It's a work in progress.
Maybe you and Mike Gesicki could be in the same class for that.
Maybe, yes.
Okay. Ryan, anything else in the NFL before we head into the predictions?
No, I mean, obviously, we're about to turn the calendar in November, so we're really,
Deshaun Watson time.
Yeah, well, pretenders become contenders, and for Deshaun Watson, I think, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to help very much because they might be too far gone, but we'll see. Big game for them on Halloween night at home against the Bengals, but we'll see. Like I said, the calendar's turning November, and teams got to step up. Kind of the contenders will step up, and the pretenders, and others will just take a step back. So, as this month coming month goes on, we can see what good teams are taking shape.
And will Nathaniel Hackett keep his job by December?
I don't foresee him firing him this year during the year, but I mean beyond this year, yeah, I don't think you're bringing an supposedly offensive genius. Not looking good.
Not looking good. All right, let's head into the predictions. Ryan and I predicted the World Series. Let's see who takes game one, Phillies at Astros, and what will the series be turned out to be?
I think Astros will win, and I think Astros win the series 4-2.
4-2 in 6 games. So Astros will have their first loss in the whole postseason.
Yeah, I think. What do you say?
I picked the Astros in 7.
Okay.
I think I keep it interesting. Interesting. Baseball in November. You can't beat that. So we'll see what happens. Congrats to the Astros. Hopefully no cheating this time, right?
Yeah. And props to I think first time playing hopefully winning a World Series manager Dusty Baker, who's been managing for as long as I've ever known. He's been a manager of baseball teams. So but still like he's our first World Series, right?
The Dusty Baker, awesome. And the Marlins got a new manager, Skip Schumacher. So hopefully wish him well there. Thursday night football, Ryan. The Ravens at the troubled Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who do you got?
I got the Ravens. Bucks are in trouble. Bucks are not good right now. Not sure what's going on. Maybe Bruce Arians wasn't they miss him. There's a disconnect, obviously, with Tom Brady. I don't know if there's a lot of things it could be, but the Ravens haven't looked impressive all the time. But they have a lot of talent. I think they just score more than the Bucks do, so I'm going to say they're going to win.
We'll see what happens with T. Brizzle, who sometimes could turn things around like this. Brooklyn and Milwaukee Bucks, NBA.
I think Brooklyn, I think they need it, and I think they'll get it tonight against undefeated Bucks as we speak right now.
Sixers at Toronto.
Sixers, another team they need. Kind of get things going, early season struggles. So I think they get this game.
There you have it. NBA, NFL, MLB. Only one person that can deal with all these leagues, even the NHL, which we haven't touched, all in one day.
Yeah, you gotta do it all. So that's it.
Ryan, random question of the day: what goes best with pumpkin?
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream. Interesting. So pumpkin pie, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
All right. I say pumpkin donuts. That's just my thing.
I'm not a huge pumpkin guy, I'm not gonna lie. It's not my thing, but
I won't tell your wife about that.
Well, she does. She loves it, but the whole season, I don't know. Florida's probably not a big deal because doesn't really change temperatures, but
It's
it's a
actually
big
really
deal
been
here in New
cooler these
York.
past couple. This past week. So
Okay, but anyways, we fall is a big time here in our area. Leaves change. We have a lot of fall festivals, farm um, farms. You go to farms, apple picking, corn mazes. There's not a lot of advantages living in West New York, but we do fall and we do fall big here around here. So it's a fun time.
yep, and also a great place for home field advantage for the Buffalo Bills. Anyways, Ryan, Christa, what is the best way to reach you online to get that recipe for pumpkin cookies?
Mad Dog Report, on Twitter probably, yeah.
Mad Dog Report, and don't forget to check out tonight the top 25 rundown. Alan West and Tyler Turner are breaking down college football, who's the best, what upsets, and things like that. And Ryan is convinced Tennessee Volunteers is the real deal.
Who's the real deal?
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. You know who else is the real deal? The Liberty Flames, Santiago, 7-1.
Beat BYU in a sold-out crowd. First time to sell out a game. Took this long.
Yeah, it is a fun place to be. I got to be there Saturday.
Oh, you were there Saturday. Crap, that's good.
I was. You're not gonna miss a moment like that, Santiago.
And
I'm everywhere.
One more prediction before you go. Florida at Georgia. Can Florida have a chance to slow the Bulldogs down?
I think they slow them down. I think it's a competitive game. I think they fight hard for 60 minutes, but I do think the Bulldogs will win. Maybe even by double digits. But I think you're going to get a really great effort from the Gators Saturday. Hopefully, I'm not big into moral victories, but when you're in year one of transition, like the Gators are with Billy Napier, they're really hitting that recruiting show really hard. Gonna get, odds are tomorrow night they're gonna get Corneli and McLean, one of the top 5 players in the nation for next year's recruiting class. Things are kind of shaping up for a really good future. I know you don't win in recruiting, aka Texas A&M, but you need to start there. Give yourself a.
There you go. Ryan gives some optimism.
So
Real quick, Ohio State at Penn State.
Ohio State again. This is really one of their last true tests of the whole year. It's a Big Ten. There's not a lot of contenders in the Big Ten. There's a lot of good teams, but when you're a great team like Ohio State, they don't get much testing from other teams. So I think they need to win it, and I think they need to win big just to kind of solidify that spot in the playoffs. As long as they can beat Michigan, they don't have to kill Michigan because Michigan's a good team. But when you're playing, I think Penn State would not be a great team; they'd just be a good team. And since Michigan beat Penn State so convincingly, I think it's important for them to equal what Michigan did.
There you have it. We have it all set from Russell Westbrook to Michigan. You can't beat that. You can reach us at thesportscast.net or the Sportscast 1 on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the top 25 rundown tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, where Alan and Ty Turner will break down the college games of last week and also this weekend. Looking forward to it. And then tomorrow night, the Jersey Boys in a great mood. No idea why. Yeah, because the Giants are 6-1. So we'll see what happens. Ryan, Christa, always a pleasure for you to come on the Sportscast.
Santiago, thank you for having me, and God bless everybody.
And this was